Good evening, and welcome to Haunted Homemaking. When it comes to lighting my home, I like it almost non existent. I love the low glow of my lamps, I love the dancing flickering of candlelight. It all makes for a lovely mood when the sun sets, as the creatures in the shadows start to slowly lurk through my hallways. In my home, there are details of culture hidden among the spooky and antiquated decor. In this episode, I am trying my hand at making my very own ghoulish Shoji lamp. Thank you for letting me be your haunted homemaker, and let's begin.
That it's gonna look so super in my room.
I think you mean to say it's gonna look good in my room.
The first thing I want to talk about is the lamp skeleton, specifically the square wooden dowels. You can find various sizes at your local craft store, but the larger size dowel you want, you may have to look into your hardware store instead. For my shoji lamp, I went to a hardware store to find dowels perfect for my preference. These dowels will serve as the lamp's frame. Depending on the design and size of the lamp, the total length for each dowel will vary, but for now, let's go ahead and assemble. Using the largest square dowel, I'm creating a square using kumiki. In carpentry, kumiki is a Japanese joinery technique that demonstrates interlocking wooden pieces without the use of nails and is known to be much stronger. After cutting the dowels to size, I create notches that will fit into each piece like so. Starting at an inch, I measure and cut the space needed to create the interlocking joint.
Do. Hey, what are you doing right there?
I am cutting some wood.
Ooh, I wanna cut some wood. Let me try.
Sure, why not?
Alright. Whoa,
Robert, you're done.
what?
Typically, the depth cut is going to equal half the width of one dowel. So when we join two dowels together through the notches to form the right angle, the total is going to equal one whole dowel, the width of one whole dowel. So two halves making one whole. Completely optional, especially if your joints are nice and tight. I like to wood glue just for more security. I'll end up making two of these for the top and bottom of my shoji lamp frame. And with the wood glue drying, we are free to spend some time doing other leisure activities. With the top and bottom of my lamp done, I can now decide just how tall I want my shoji lamp to be. Shoji lamps are really any size and any shape, but rectangular prisms seem to be the favorite, which is what I ended up making. Once I cut 4 large dowels to the height I want my lamp, I want to create notches that will interlock on the corners of my top and bottom pieces. This part can be a bit confusing, but please bear with me. Starting at an inch, I draw a notch the size of half the width of my dowels, just like I did at the beginning when making the notches for my top and bottom pieces. If you're math savvy, this may make sense to you in a different way, but since I am not, I kind of just eyeballed it, of course doing the tiniest bit of math just to make sure everything fits together. I promise this is much easier than it looks. To make things even easier, I went ahead and colored in the spots I'm going to cut out. With the first part drawn, I turn my dowel away from me and draw another notch from the bottom, same size, making sure to again color in what I'm cutting out. Now that I have the notches drawn on my dowels, I carefully scroll saw the parts out that I colored in. I'll end up with 4 dowels total with notches at each end. Like before, these dowels should fit into each other, creating the frame for my shoji lamp. Now, if this design looks familiar to you, shoji means traditional Japanese sliding panels with paper. Shoji panels can serve as door or room dividers and have that recognizable, elegant design that softly allows light to diffuse from its paper divisions.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Word of the Day. Today's word is felony.
Ooh,
Ooh.
what's a felony?
A felony is a very serious crime punishable by prison, and if it's really serious, they can punish you with death.
Really? Punishable by death?
Sometimes.
Mr. Oz, one time I accidentally eated someone else's lunch, but I did not know any better. Is that a felony?
Lunch stealer. No, Jackie, that's not a felony. That's just an accident.
Do you have an example?
A felony is something serious. Burglary, like arson, fraud, larceny. Those are felonies.
Whoa, those sound serious.
What's arson? Arson's when you set something on fire. Wait, setting things on fire is a felony? Yup. What if they don't catch you? Is that still a felony? Yes, Bobby, that's what a fire detective is for. They have fire detectives? Yes.
Mr. Oz, how many felonies can you have before they unalive you?
It's not how many you have that they unalive you. They don't always do that. It's how serious the crime is. Also, some states, they don't even unalive you at all. They just throw you right into prison. What if the fire happened, but you were just standing next to it? Like if you were just standing, like you didn't start it, you're just standing next to it like this. Is that still a felony? I don't know, Bobby. I guess you'd have to look that one up. Even famous people can have felonies. Celebrities, even.
Wow, even celebrities can have them?
Could the police know that there was a fire, but it happened in the past? Yeah, I think so, Bobby. Shoot, what if they can't prove that I started the fire?
Mr. Oz, what is the highest number of felonies that a celebrity has had?
That's a good question, Jackie. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of which celebrity has the highest, but there's a couple I can think of that have a pretty high number of felonies.
Well, what's the highest number you could think of?
34 felonies.
Wow, that's a lot of felonies. Who is it?
The President of the United States. What if the fire... Wait, what? That guy's a felon?
Mr. Oz, I think that if you have 34 felonies, you should not be allowed to be president.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, Jackie. Yeah, what am I sweating over a house fire for? That guy got 34 felonies. Bobby, did you start a fire?
With the frame of my shoji lamp assembled, it's time for a bit of detail work. Unlike the first part, this part isn't structural, just something fun. I'm thinking some spider webs. Naturally, of course. Creating a pattern and drafting all my corner webs onto wood, I'm putting my scroll saw to work again. This part was horrendously tedious. I say that because 16 spider webs needed to be cut out. 4 sides, 4 corners, not to mention the webs had such tight corners, and to cut out the little divisions, I needed to readjust my scroll saw every so often. But I know my lamp will be better because of this. Whoever designed these spider webs is truly a masochist. With all 16 corner webs finally cut out, I used wood glue to attach, along with masking tape and clamps to help hold in place. As my webs were drying, I still felt like there was something missing from my lamp. Kumiki joinery can sometimes showcase traditional Japanese geometric patterns called kumiko, and I really like the idea of incorporating a similar idea or a much simple version of that into my lamp. Now, for my sanity, it may not be a complex kumiki geometric pattern, but I added dowels that create a rectangle within my shoji panels for a nice vignette reminiscent of those traditional patterns. Okay, with the entire frame completed, it's time to stain the wood and add some varnish to better match details in my home. With a few coats of stain, I then apply a varnish to protect and strengthen and allow to dry. Let's talk about the different sources of light for a bit. Traditionally, and before electricity, flame was placed in the middle of the paper lamp. Venturesome, but a bit dangerous. Modern day shoji lamps are mostly electric, and you can actually buy the parts to do so. And since this isn't Edo period Japan, much more practical. I have this rechargeable flame here that it's going to create the light source for my lamp, so I don't have to worry about any of that. Because this light is standalone, I needed to make some kind of platform or bridge for the light to sit on. Nothing too fancy. Before staining, I had cut a plank of wood that will fit inside my lamp, gluing to secure. Now my light source is magnetic on the bottom, so as added security, I'm adding a metal plate to the plank of wood so it stays in place. At this point, my shoji lamp is looking a bit bare, so I know it's time to add a shade. There are a couple ways to do this. I have this fantastic bright green shoji paper that really gives off a ghostly Halloween vibe, and I love it so much. Shoji paper is an excellent choice. It comes in so many fun colors and is ready to use, but I have something else I want to try tonight. I have this super durable white drapery fabric that I want to dye a bright green with an ombre. The texture feels a bit papery, but it's very strong and thin enough for light to pass through, making it a perfect, less fragile option. To determine the size needed, I want to measure the inner perimeter of my lamp along with the height. Using flat reed, I am attaching my fabric using double-sided tape. I'm essentially creating a rectangular prism to slip into my lamp. I'm adding a few hooks so I can hang some tassels, really adding to the look. After installing the shade and adding a few ghoulish details, I can now add my light. And with a small movement to flicker, my completed shoji lamp is illuminated at last. With the sun peeking through the blinds, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am so in love with my new addition to my home. Now, I must admit, I was hesitant on the green color at first, but it looks so lovely tied together, and I'm happy I went with it. Once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for letting me be your haunted homemaker, and please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.